Shocking. Why the Lungu family fears Makebi Zulu's role in Edgar's burial. For months, Zambia has watched in disbelief as the burial of former President Edgar Lungu remains on hold, trapped in mystery, tension, and silence. But now, a shocking twist has emerged. Sources close to the family reveal deep divisions, not just over where Lungu should be buried, but over who should be involved in the process. And at the center of it all stands one man, Makebi Zulu. Why does the mere mention of Makebi's name send shockwaves through the Lungu household? What secret role is he playing in the late president's burial talks? And could his involvement expose internal cracks that the family has desperately tried to hide? Stay tuned, because what's happening behind closed doors might just redefine the Lungu legacy forever. Welcome to InspirAfrica Official, the home of Zambia's most revealing political documentaries and stories that shape our nation's destiny. In today's episode, we dive deep into the shocking developments surrounding the late Edgar Lungu's pending burial, and the fears circulating within his own family about Makebi Zulu's alleged involvement. Is this about loyalty or control? Is Makebi simply helping as a loyal ally, or has his influence grown beyond what the Lungu family expected? We'll uncover the timeline, the inside conversations, and the political ripples this tension could send across Zambia's already fragile opposition front. Tension grips Zambia once again as the Lungu family faces new internal divisions over Edgar Lungu's long-delayed burial. Reports suggest fear and mistrust are growing within the family, centered on Makebi Zulu's sudden and mysterious involvement. In this episode, InspirAfrica Official investigates why the Lungu family allegedly fears Makebi Zulu's role, the real story behind the stalled burial talks, hidden motives shaping the post-Lungu PF succession battle. Could this be the final straw in a family already torn by politics, grief, and power struggles? Watch till the end for the full picture. The tension nobody expected, a rift in the inner circle. Zambia is once again gripped by shock, and this time, it's not the government making headlines. It's the Lungu family itself. For months, the late President Edgar Lungu's burial saga has dominated whispers across the nation. What began as a story of mourning and respect has quietly turned into a web of tension, mistrust, and hidden motives. Now, new revelations suggest that even within the Lungu family's once solid inner circle, cracks are beginning to show, and at the heart of this unexpected rift stands one man, Makebi Zulu, the family's own lawyer. To the public, Makebi was seen as the family's unwavering defender, a loyal figure who stood firm against what many viewed as government overreach. He was bold, articulate, and fearless. When others fell silent, he spoke up. When others hesitated, he took action. For months, he was the face of the family's fight to keep control over Edgar Lungu's burial, battling courts in Pretoria, issuing fiery press statements, and vowing to protect the former president's dignity. But behind the curtain, things were changing. Sources close to the family began hinting at deep unease. Some members started questioning Makebi's intentions. Was he truly fighting for the family, or for himself? His growing media presence and political visibility began to raise eyebrows. What was once seen as courage started to look like ambition. Whispers soon grew louder that Makebi might have his own agenda, that the fight over the burial had turned into a stage for political gain. Now, as the Lungu family's unity begins to fracture, Zambia watches with unease. How did a trusted ally become a source of fear? To find out, we must go back to where it all began, the battle over Edgar Lungu's body. The legal storm, Makebi's fight in South Africa. When Edgar Lungu died unexpectedly, confusion spread across Zambia and beyond. His remains were taken to South Africa, where the family sought medical help in his final moments. But after his passing, what was supposed to be a routine repatriation turned into a full-blown international dispute. The Zambian government wanted the body returned immediately for an official burial in Lusaka, with full honors, a national holiday, and a state-led funeral at Embassy Park. But the family, citing political hostility and security fears, refused. Enter Makebi Zulu, the family's legal warrior. He launched an aggressive legal campaign in Pretoria, filing appeals and injunctions that temporarily blocked Zambia from reclaiming the body. He accused government officials of intimidation, calling their actions disrespectful to a former head of state. At first, the family praised him. Esther Lungu stood by his side, and PF loyalists hailed him as a hero standing up to President Hakainde Hichilema's administration. But as weeks turned into months, and the court battles dragged on, something started to change. Behind the scenes, the family began to question his motives. Why were legal costs rising so fast? Why was information being kept so secret? And more importantly, why was Makebi suddenly in the media more than the family itself? What began as trust slowly turned into tension. Whispers of betrayal, the fear inside the family. As the Pretoria legal drama unfolded, reports began to surface that Makebi Zulu was holding private meetings with both PF politicians and certain government figures. While there's no official proof of wrongdoing, these rumors shook the family to its core. Sources close to the Lungu household claim that Esther Lungu grew uncomfortable with the lawyer's growing influence, feeling that Makebi might be using the burial issue to boost his own political profile ahead of 2026. After all, in the months following Lungu's death, Makebi Zulu's name began appearing everywhere. In political discussions, PF restructuring meetings, and even whispers about presidential ambitions. For the Lungu family, this was alarming. They began to suspect that their tragedy was being politicized, that Makebi's every court statement was more about his own visibility than Edgar Lungu's dignity. A relative was quoted anonymously saying, "We wanted closure, not campaigns." But somehow, it felt like the burial had turned into a stage for politics. It was then that cracks within the family began to widen. Some relatives wanted to keep trusting Makebi, others demanded his removal. Behind the public calm, a storm was brewing. The secret talks, government and family finally meet. Then, a shocking twist. After 4 long months of cold silence, the Zambian government and the Lungu family suddenly agreed to official burial talks. But what surprised everyone was who wasn't invited: Makebi Zulu. According to reliable insiders, the new round of negotiations was facilitated quietly between government envoys and senior family members, reportedly without Makebi's knowledge. This was a clear sign that trust had broken. The family, once united behind him, now seemed to want distance. Some sources claim Esther Lungu personally requested that Makebi step aside from the talks to allow neutral dialogue. Others say government negotiators privately hinted that Makebi's continued involvement could complicate any chance of reconciliation. Whether or not that's true, one thing became clear: the family had lost faith in the man once called their legal shield. And this decision wasn't just about emotions, it was also about control. With Makebi out, the family could regain full say over burial terms, the funeral site, and who attends. For the first time since Edgar Lungu's passing, real progress toward closure seemed possible. But it came at a price: the quiet exile of Makebi Zulu. The bigger picture: politics, power, and legacy. Now, as Zambia watches the latest developments unfold, one question dominates public discussion. Was Makebi Zulu a victim of paranoia, or a man with too much ambition? His supporters argue he stood fearlessly against government pressure, protecting the dignity of a fallen president. They claim the family is being manipulated by political forces who want Makebi sidelined because he's a potential threat in 2026. But his critics, including some within the Lungu circle, believe otherwise. They say Makebi's actions prolonged the nation's pain, turning a family tragedy into a legal and political circus. For Esther Lungu, this may have been the hardest decision of her life, choosing between loyalty and closure. But as the country inches closer to a final agreement, one thing is certain: the shadow of mistrust remains. Edgar Lungu's legacy, once seen as the uniting force for the PF, has become the very line dividing those who claim to honor him. And as Zambia waits for the day his body finally returns home, a haunting question still echoes through Lusaka's corridors of power: did Makebi Zulu fight for Edgar Lungu's dignity, or for his own destiny? Whatever the truth may be, one fact stands firm: Zambia deserves closure, the Lungu family deserves peace, and the late president deserves rest. But in the shadows of politics and power, peace never comes without a price.